Fog Entertainment is back with another character spotlight, and today we are looking at Allesandro Montez. His life, his character spanned from Sons of Anarchy to the Mayans MCs. The first of his kind on these series of videos. Last time out we did Manny, who was only in Mayans, but this time out we're doing Montez. He got the rub of Sons, and then he got the aftermath of Mayans. Let's see how it all begun for Montez. But in terms about his past before the club, we know he's got a cousin named Tommy. His mother is dead. He also at some point became friends with El Palo, who was president of the Fatos Malitos motorcycle club. But we are first introduced to Montez when Bobby is essentially out of SAMCRO, but he's not exactly nomad. But even though the rest of SAMCRO think he's going nomad, turns out he's recruiting. So we're first introduced to Montez alongside Rain, Quinn, and West, and some other guy, right? And some other guy who I can't even remember the name of, personally. But at this point, he is a Reno member, but it turns out that Bobby Elvis was in fact actually recruiting for SAMCRO. So we do see at the big northwest summit between all the charters. Bobby brings it to Jax and says these guys are all SAMCRO ready, and at the end of that episode we do see them like uniting to bring down the Croc Cops, which I thought was a Smokey and the Bandit. Loved that movie, as Tig would say. And then that's when we're first introduced to Montez, and in the next episode they're officially patched in. Montez, Quinn, and Orlin West. And if we're being honest, there's not really an awful lot to say about Montez in the rest of season 6. He's just kind of there. Now, him and West provide a distraction for the cops when SAMCRO are taking down Claymore's prison transport. He doesn't really do an awful lot. There is a joke in there for Tig that he's all up on it, like jizz on his mama, and he's like, my mama's dead, bro. And then Jax is like, that won't stop him. So yeah, that's how we find out his mum's dead. And then as we move on to season 7, he does a lot of burying, right? He literally buries a lot of people. He looks over the mother and son. He doesn't really do an awful lot. You know, he helps Jax look for Gemma. He's later present at Bobby's burial at Piney's cabin. Again, not really doing a lot. He votes Mr. Mayhem on Jax, which I guess is a pretty big deal. As Jax says his goodbyes, he gets one of the weakest goodbyes because Jax, let's be real, I mean, I'm not saying he doesn't really care about Montez, but you know, there's not exactly a massive deal about Montez. And then as Jax Teller rides away, that is the end of Montez and Sons of Anarchy. And to be honest, I thought we'd never see the guy again. But flash forward to season 2, episode 8 of the Mayans MC, damn it, and he appears. And you know what? This is where I'll say fair dues to the Mayans, because they did a better job with Montez. But to be fair to Sons did not need Montez getting a massive focus in the last 2 seasons of the show. Did Sons suffer from it? Absolutely not. So to be fair, I have no issues with it. But in terms of what's happened with Montez in between Sons of Anarchy and Mayans, well, he's been promoted to road captain. So Montez has been promoted to road captain, and he's absolutely loving his wee life. So yeah, due to this fact here though, he seems like a pretty big deal at the table. It's weird because when you've got Chips, Quinn, Happy, and Montez, but Montez seems to be doing most of the talking alongside Chips. Now that is probably due to Montez's connection with the Fatos, and that is where this story takes its next twist. So yeah, of course he's pally with the Fatos. He's like, El Palo never mentioned no beef essay. So yeah, but not very good. Not very good here from the Mayans' perspective, because now Montez is like, well, what's going on here? And then when the Fato's alive, Montez confronts, he's like, so I heard you got into it with the Mayans. 9 dead hermanos, brother. Tell me, are they into it? It's just easily the best episode of this show, isn't it? And then she goes, I'll tell you what they're into. Making fucking money. Come on. Give us Chippy boy, damn it. But Montez, you know, Happy, Chibs, it seems like they have this deal under wraps, and it looks like as we're leaving, things are going alright. So we don't hear anything from Montez after this episode. But, of course, the Mayans and Fatos war kinda just spirals out of control in this episode. You know, Riz gets shot, Taza then kills Riz. We find out that Taza's got a bit of a history with El Palo and his certain brother called David, which then leads to an absolute massacre in the season 2 finale. So the Mayans wipe out the Fatos, except for El Palo. And yeah, you think it's just Fatos they've killed. I mean, I say Fatos, I mean, I guess at this point they've also wiped out a few innocents in there as well. But then the season ends with the death of a Sons of Anarchy character who looks quite small. And to be honest, we all fought it, you fought it, everybody watching this series fought it, we all thought Montez had died. But as we would later reveal in Season 3 of Mayans, it wasn't even in fact Montez that died, it was his cousin Tommy, who was also a member of SAMCRO. So, yeah, I mean, to me that just seems like a weird cop-out. It almost seems like they were going to go with Montez, but then the COVID outbreak happened, guys, as you know, and then like the show got delayed by like a year. So is that what's happened? Maybe what I'm saying by that is they had to like change the script and things like that. I think that's probably what happened. I'm just not really buying this, that this was they've literally just created a brand new character by the name of Tommy. In my opinion, I'm just not seeing that, to be brutally honest, troops. Maybe I'm way off the mark there, or maybe I'm not, damn it. Who really knows? But to be honest, Montez here, he doesn't die, he lives on, which takes us to Season 3. Well, I guess the reveal was that it wasn't him, it was in fact his cousin. Baldo, the double dipping, I say. Funny enough, though, this scene where he meets with El Palo, this is the exact same scene where we get the introduction of Terry, and it's where El Palo essentially just accuses Montez of double dipping with the Scotsman. He won't be happy, brother. So yeah, El Palo's worrying Montez here. Next time we see Montez, it's him and Happy basically warning the Mayans if they come through Sun territory again, they need a heads up. The Mayans then, Bishop reveals this pretty funny statement. He says, Happy don't know what fucking day it is, but Montez, he's always been a crafty little fuck. Well, he's always been a crafty little fuck, apparently, according to Bishop, but his days of being a crafty little fuck are soon over, because El Palo calls for one more meet with Montez in this barn. Montez walks in and gets absolutely strangled to death. Holy moly, Montez is dead. El Palo then disposes of his body at the Mayan clubhouse, lays him out on, I believe it was Taz's bike, or just a bike at the clubhouse, I'm not too sure. And then Taz does the stupidest thing known to man. He actually puts Montez's body in an oil rig. In an oil rig? No, in an oil drum. An oil rig. Oil rigs are pretty big, Stevie. So he puts him in an oil rig, and then that's it. Sons aren't really questioning where Montez has went, because the Mayans don't know. The only guy that knows is Taza, which is pretty intriguing here. And then that is it. So of course Montez, the character, is dead. That's where we could technically end this, but I feel like we'll take it one step further. And yeah, so Montez died in Season 3. But as we move on to Season 4, a certain Jess in Episode 2, him among the ruins, but opens an oil barrel and discovers the patch of none other than Allesandro Montez, damn it. Of course, like we know, guys, she takes it back to the Sam Dino clubhouse with her sister Jasmine. And then, of course, they know it's Montez because it says Road Captain SAMCRO. Everyone knows that he was been the Road Captain of SAMCRO. And yeah, this basically wagers Sam Dino to go to war with the Mayans. They get the green light from Chibs. Chibs has given the green light, damn it. And yeah, that is exactly what starts the war. And I'm not going to go into the Mayan War here. That's for like other character spotlights. But we do get one more mention of Montez's name in this show. And it is in the big epic sit-down between Tig, Traeger and Marcus Alvarez. And of course, Tig obviously explaining why they've went to war with the Mayans to Alvarez. He's explaining that they found Montez on an oil barrel, on Mayan territory, your clubhouse, hermano. Which is funny, and Alvarez is like, we know nothing about that, I say. So yeah, Tig explaining the reasons, and then he's like, well, to be honest, I was pretty impartial on the whole Montez thing. I thought he was a bit of an asshole, but it was funny. It was something Tig would come out with, you know, and it's not just like the Mayans in Season 5 where they're outright burying Lobo, which just seemed very off and weird. But yeah, guys, that is the last mention that Montez has got to date. you know, with 6 more episodes of this show to go, maybe Montez is going to get a mention later down the line. But to be honest, I wouldn't bet my top rocker on it, troops. So anyway, leave your thoughts down below. That is it for Montez. Allesandro Montez. You know what? Mayans massively increased this character, because in Sons, he was minor. He was just like red shirt essentially at the table to get killed. But then Mayans took him to another level. So that's us on Fog Entertainment saying fair do Mayans. But until next time, peace.